Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another exceptional episode of the Pitchside podcast. And the lineup is amazing as usual. Bueno.
I'm in the mood.
Yeah? You're cooking now.
Cooking something.
Le Grand Mafit.
Nice. You?
Number one. 2-0 victory against Polokwane City, especially after our last showing. Was this a grudge match?
I think it was a match where we needed to rectify so many things.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a grudge match at all. I think it's because of what it had exposed in the first game. I think there's a lot of things that needed to be rectified. And also like to continue with the momentum that was already been created.
Yeah.
And also maybe with a little bit of arrogance as well to show who are the big guns.
Yeah.
You know, and because you're playing at home, you want to be dominant. You want to show that whatever happens in Polokwane, it was a mistake. Even though it's very difficult to play against Polokwane City because of how well they're doing this season.
Yeah.
But also it helps in a sense, I don't know, you playing them early on because then they've defeated you not so long ago. So your memories are still fresh for you to be able to rectify the mistake that happened. And I don't think also, like we came back and we spoke about it, I don't think it was just a pathetic performance, you know, a very disappointing performance. Not from an individual perspective, but just as a team. And then once you play them a couple of weeks after, especially with the momentum of winning with such a big margin against Kaizer Chiefs, you want to also rectify those mistakes by a victory.
Yeah, we spoke about the comeback, and the comeback needed to be strong. And as you spoke about the Kaizer Chiefs one, we came back really strong. But now we come back into a situation where, and you've spoken about how you feel about this, Mota, maybe you can indulge us. How do you feel about, I don't want to call it a rotation system, but the system of not keeping the same 11 from the previous game into the next?
Yeah, it's a bit twofold because like now where we are in football, there's a lot of stats that go into players and the amount of loads they can take, and you know, and I think Coach Mangoba is aware of that, and the whole team is aware of that. But I think the most important thing is just not to disrupt the momentum and the winning spirit in the team. And, you know, like the Polokwane game, I mean, there was a lot of changes, but the team still did well and they still played the Sundowns way. So I think Coach Mangoba is aware of that, and obviously there's a lot of games coming, so he wants to keep everyone fresh, and like he said, he wants to keep everyone on their toes, you know, that everyone should be ready at any time of the season. So it's something that works for him. I mean, a lot of us might say it's not ideal, but I think Coach Mangoba is dealing with it very well, and he's got the players that are capable. Every player that is at Mamelodi Sundowns should be ready to play at any given time against any given team.
It's a tricky one because you make so many changes and you lose a game, but you make so many changes, you win a game, and nobody then praises you for that.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think because of also it's something that is new. It's not something that we're used to. Because we believe as former footballers ourselves, when we were on the pitch, we want to always have that momentum. You want to play week in, week out. You don't believe in, okay, there's a game that you want to rest, you know, and all that type of stuff. So because it's new, of course it will face a lot of criticism. But the only way to, you know, to silence the criticism is win games and still play the Mamelodi Sundowns way. I mean, we can go back and say, even when Coach Ulani came through with his philosophy, it was criticized in the beginning. It's too much passes, it's too slow. But once you start winning games, people are easy then buying into the system. Yeah. So I think with also that's the same thing with Coach Mangoba. You know, you want to change, you want to make changes, you want to implement your system and your way of playing. But it's going to take some time for people to buy into it. But the most important thing being in that position is for the players to buy into it. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that have to go onto the pitch and perform. And once they don't perform, we're always going to come back and like, but I think you're under the predicament situation where you win games, okay, sharp. But if you lose games, but you made so many changes. So I think it's something that he has to deal with the entire season until he wins something.
Yeah. We saw Lebang Maboe now playing as a 6.
There was no surprise, right? I think he can play that position a little bit better because the thing is, like, Lebo has played so many positions. He's played as a right back. He's played as an 8 before he got injured. I think it was on a good trajectory. He played as a false 9. You know, he's played so many positions, and I think it was about time for him to play that position. And I think he can do well because he's just comfortable on the ball. And I think also because you can play so many positions in the club, it gives you an advantage to be always considered to play. But then
Is it an advantage though?
it's an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time, because then nobody knows what you specialize in.
Yeah, but at the same time, you would be the best person for me to have on the bench, because if I need to replace a 9, I know I can use you.
Yeah.
If you that's what I mean. You're like a multi-purpose player.
Yeah, but the multi-purpose player, they grow and they mature quicker. They advance. They learn a bit quicker, because then they have to always readjust themselves mentally in every position that they play. So he stands a chance in a sense that even if it's a big game, let's say it's a cup final, very very big game, when you're playing the Champions League, the right back gets injured. Lebo will play. But then the challenge is the strength that he has sometimes becomes a disadvantage, because you're strong mentally, you're able to adjust. So that becomes a disadvantage in certain instances when all the players are back. You're not going to play because of everybody will be back and playing their normal positions. But I'm just saying, but if you have to look at it holistically, you'll be having more game time than the rest, because you can adjust and play in different positions. And you know the challenge is not Dalmo Sundowns. Everyone wants to play.
Yeah, and I think with Lebo, I think the most important thing is because he has the trust of the coach.
Yeah.
Once the coach trusts you in whatever position he puts you in, he gives you that confidence. And whatever position you're going to play, you're going to do better because you have the trust of the coach. Not like once there's a little bit of doubt, then it creates doubt also in the player. But with Lebo, I mean, he's experienced now. I think now he's one of the old heads in the change room, so he would understand all the challenges and requirements of certain positions. And he played as a 6, and I think he did well. He played in a team that won, and he might be considered again for other games that are coming and going forward as well, because he's versatile. But as long as he has the trust and the belief of the coach, I think that is fine.
Yeah. We saw young Kutlano come in, get a brace. Saleh's with the assists. So the combinations are starting to come together.
Left footers. Thank God.
Left footers.
Yeah. Great game, and the most important thing that I liked about the Polokwane game was that the players that played, because it was a 11 that was different. They themselves, the 11, they knew it was different, but they created synergy and they created this understanding amongst the 11 that was playing. So that is good for the team, because if we have injuries to other players, but we know we will have an assist from Sales to Kutlwano, will have a combination, because there was a lot of nice combinations in the game, and that is good for the club. The combination can only be with Peter and EP and Lucas, but the other ones that come in and play as a team, once that team synergy is there, the team will definitely do well.
Donna, Coach Mangoba spoke about playing quicker. The first goal came from that. Bebasalele from the free kick, and we played it quicker and managed to get into the last third and get a goal to open the scoring.
And I think that's where the football has evolved to, playing quicker with 3 up front. And I've never been a fan of that, to be honest. Because I was never a player that wants to play quicker.
Okay.
Because then, of course, I've always been the player that knows what's the next move.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be something that has instilled me. We need to play quicker, because I hate losing possession of the ball, and then we have to defend, because I'm not good in defending. But I've never been a fan. But also, like, as a fan, when you look at where the football is evolving and the space that it's getting into, you get to appreciate then, because then you have quick wingers, very skillful, that are be able to take on 1v1 to be able to create more goal-scoring opportunities rapidly. And you can blame Madrid, because then you win Champions League, you become, all of a sudden, you become the leader of the world in terms of how you want to play. And I think with that is now you want to have, because with that, with Real Madrid doing that, you're losing the number 10 position.
Yeah.
The number 10 position now, it becomes useless, because you need an 8 that will be box to box. That's your Bellingham. Then you've got your Rodri, you've got all these quick players on the wing. So with what Coach Mangoba, I think even the beginning of the season, he was emphasizing on he wants to play a little more quicker because he felt like certain stages of the season last season we were too slow to penetrate and waited for opponents to regroup and then start afresh, and he wants to like get the goals a little bit quicker because even at the game against Kaizer Chiefs when the score was 4, I remember shouting, he's so
same on the line, let's
let's
go. We need more goals.
You need more goals. So it's very interesting to see that. And for Nigel, we'll come back to what Mawuto was saying. As long as the players are buy into it, the players believe into it, I think that's it. Because for Ronaldo, it was like we score a goal, we lead, and then we relax on the ball.
Yeah.
We control the tempo. That's why we could play 40 to 50 games because then be able to conserve the energy.
100%.
And I think but with the number of players that you have, especially with all the quick players, maybe you want to play them to their strength and be able to profit from that. But if it works, I'll take. I don't have to believe in it because I was never that player. But if it works, I mean, it brings results. I mean, that's what you need.
Gents, do you think as South African football, there is a pressure hype around forcing coaches to play younger players from the development systems?
If you are ready, you are old enough. I think the age thing is just hyped up for probably not for me for nothing. I mean, it's the way football is going. Like Tia said, it's getting quicker and quicker, and these young ones are quick. Yeah. So you need that. You need them. Yeah. I mean, I think it's the way football is going now. The evolution of the game now, it's becoming quicker. And the quicker the football is, you need the younger players or you need the quick ones.
Yeah.
Because for us, I mean, we were a bit, not necessarily reserved, but we could play possession for possession just to keep it. Okay. But now it's about 1, 2, the next one has to go forward. And you need to see the legs, like Coach Pizzo used to say, I need the legs, because that's how football is going now. It's getting quicker and that's why we see a lot of these young ones coming in. I mean, like Kutlwano yesterday. Kutlwano with his 2 goals. Yeah. Because he's quick. He makes movements that are quick. He decides things. He's got a run. So I think that's where football is going, and we need to accept that.
Yeah. As the opposition, how do you stop then the quicker play? Is it literally going and making sure that when there's a foul, somebody stands over the ball to slow it down, or what are we doing differently then?
As an opponent.
To stop this thing?
You're talking about quick player free kick that led to the first goal.
No, I'm just saying in general, if the game is getting quicker, there's got to be a counter to it. Yeah. Is how do we slow it down? Because there's got to be a way for us to be able to then get to a point where this thing is being countered. Right? Because then I'm just saying, like, for example, we might be the ones playing fast, but we might meet another team that has the same thing. In your view, what is the best way to stop it? In general.
It's difficult because I think at the end, when 2 teams play similar, what separates the 2 then becomes the quality.
Thank you.
So then because Mamelodi Sundowns, you have so many players with quality on the ball, so you can always resort to default setting. Default setting means then you'll play a little bit slow, which is something that I saw against Kaizer Chiefs.
Yes.
When 5 minutes into the game, Kaizer Chiefs were bypassing the pressure point where Mamelodi Sundowns trying to put pressure. I was like, okay. But in the back of my mind, it was like, you can't beat Sundowns Castren Sabona. You can't go pound to pound Sundowns in terms of position. And that's what they tried to do. And within 5 minutes, 10 minutes of it, it was gone already because it's not something they play normally. But that's what I'm saying. Once you get the leads, then automatically, I think it just happens. Then you go back to the defaults, and then you can slow the game down. And in certain moments, you can always also like speed it up and get into the position that you're supposed to. And I think that's why football is about moments. You can't all the time speed.
Yeah.
So you need to rectify if the space is for you to exploit, and then you can play it a bit quite quicker rather. But like for instance, like if you have to look at the greats in football, Zidane, you once you watch Zidane, you look like the game is on slow motion.
Yeah.
But he'll still play quicker. He'll still be getting into positions where he needed to play. Not that football now is quick, and it's always been quicker. Both Thierry Henry, they were quick players, you know. But it's just that then there was very few players that were so good on the ball that we would like to watch them play. But now you have few players that are good on the ball because everybody wants to play quicker and quicker, which means for wingers that are quick, for wingers that are capable of taking 1v1, they stand in more chance on playing in teams. But the ones that are more creative now, that element is slowly dying into the football because now Butler was sort of, you're taking too much time on the ball because the creativity now is going because of the world of football is going in a different direction. And also, like, make it a practical example as well. When Liverpool won the Champions League, everybody started playing with 4-3-3 because Salah, Sané, what. So it changes. It depends on who wins.
Yeah.
If Pep wins again or Barcelona wins Champions League, we go back again to, okay, guys, let's put the ball down, angles. So it depends on who the leader of the world is in terms of football. But I think within South Africa, because it's been Sundowns, I think every trend that we're trying, people will come back and copy.
Yeah.
So now we're in the space where we're playing with 2-10s. So I'll hear people like, 3 strikers. What do you mean 3 strikers? So because then on paper it looks this way, but because of football, it's about moments and schemes. When Sundowns is on possession of the ball, what is the system? When Sundowns is off position of the ball, what is the system? So you can never really identify as like what's the system of Mamelodi Sundowns. But then with the 2-10s, which means you need to start out wide. Hey, thank God I'm not playing into this system because then it requires a lot of legs.
Yeah.
Because when you defend, you go out wide to go and defend the fullbacks, but we have the ball, you have to come in at the right time. So it requires a lot of legs. So it comes back to the point that you say. So without the legs, then you're unable to play in certain positions. That's when then, because Lebo doesn't have the legs anymore, you can play as a 6. Kotse can play as a 6 because he doesn't have the legs. And Bobo Obas, you can play now as a 6 because you don't have the legs. Because if you do have the legs, then you need to do all the shuffling. So it becomes very difficult, but that's how football evolves. And I think the more versatile, the more open-minded that you are to be able to learn the football, and then you're able to adapt as time goes on.
It's the never-ending changes of the game. We move to a cup game now. We're going to Bloemfontein to play your favorite coach, Mauta.
Then dance.
Let them dance.
Yeah,
it's a tricky one. It's a cup game, like I always say and I always preach. But I'm not a pastor anyway, but I always
Leave that to Sugar, my friend.
Yeah. Cup games have their own heartbeat.
yeah.
You can never predict, you can never tell. They just have their own life and whatever. But from what we've seen from Mamelodi Sundowns, I think it's a game that they're going to win. And it's a game that they need to win, and they know they must win, because you win this game, now you are almost in the final.
Yeah.
You're halfway from lifting the trophy. So I think they should go to that game thinking of that, because Sundowns is a big team, is a team that wants to win trophies, and it's a team that wants to play in the final. I'm sure the players now
Smell it. Kind of
yeah,
rolling at
probably.
this time when I saw Nkachelet at this time.
Yeah, I know the money. They should win it for the money, but now they are home. They are probably practicing national anthem, especially the Africans part.
But here's
you know, but it's a big game for them, and the Sundowns, if everything is put into the Sundowns way, Sundowns wins the game.
But now you have a Marumo Collins that plays, also likes to play out from the back. You know, Coach Dance loves players like Abu Kolam Lambo, who are comfortable on the ball, has late hand and so forth.
But for me, it's like one thing I'll say, like I'll applaud Dan's Khan. Every team that he's went to, his identity of play, it's immediately been seen. You can just imagine if he had half of the quality players that Sundowns has, it would be a very difficult team to beat, because he is that type of a coach that believes in his philosophy. He doesn't change. And I don't think the game over the weekend, he will be a team that will change in terms of how they've been playing all those games. Of course, there's a little bit of concern because now you're playing Mamelodi Sundowns that has so much momentum. Of course, as Marumo Gallants, you're playing at home, you want to win. And then Dance will always want to have one up against Mamelodi Sundowns, you know, because he played for this club. But the difficulty is then it comes back to the question that you asked. Then once you play with a team that has more or less a similar style of play, then that's where the quality then will start to show. And I think it's a game that will force us to match up one-on-one, pound for pound. And then with the quality that we have, that will set us apart a little bit differently, because you have a team that it's not scoring much. The Dance team, they don't score much because they keep possession a lot. And you're playing with Shai up front, who is a little bit smaller player, but he scored with the header over the weekend, so it doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't have qualities. But then is Mamelodi Sundowns, they need to be able to work a little bit harder without the ball. They need to understand that without the ball, they're not going to give us the ball, so we need to work hard for the ball. So that counter-pressing now becomes important. But also playing in a crowd like Bloemfontein, what do you want to make it a little bit easier for yourself is score a little bit early. Then you're controlling the game now, because then you're forcing Marumo Gallants to play a little bit differently. They do have speedy players on the wing, so make no mistake, and whenever you play against Mamelodi Sundowns as a youngster or as an unknown player, you want to make your name. I've been that player when you're playing against a big team, or it's my opportunity now, and somebody needs to know me, or somebody needs to see me.
When was this?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So that happens is like you have a coach that will make sure that he drives these players to a certain level, or maybe Debs is not better than you.
Yeah.
Mamang is not better than you. So just to give the players your confidence. And if you walk into the game with the thing, now I'm a top player, I've been in these positions before, therefore, then you're gonna have a long day.
Is that not sometimes dangerous, because then you find players maybe too motivated, if there is such a thing, and then they start to get into reckless,
overzealous,
overstimulated, overzealous. And then you get to a point where they then start diving into tackles and just making reckless, because now you've been hyped up to say, hey, man, you can't allow Debs to fit us.
Of course it does, but unfortunately, as a coach, you can't control that. So I got to, when in the dressing room, you're giving such information to try and motivate the players. So it's up to the players then how they manage their emotional intelligence. But I've been on the side where we play against teams that are highly motivated like that. So for you to win, don't mesh them strength, don't mesh them pace, don't mesh them, because they've camp early. Mentally, you start camping once the fixture's out there. So what you can do is just maybe psychologically beat them there, in a sense. Or whoever that wants to kick you, make him get yellow card game, so you will always want them to play on the edge. And then sometimes that's why sometimes you need a little bit of arrogance. Maute was one of the most arrogant player on the pitch. With an opponent, when I got those type of things. But from some will say, but it's not fair play, but sometimes it gives an edge to win. And I think champions and guys that are on that mentality that I want to be the best, you need to have that sort of arrogance. And I think when you play against a team that will come out gun blazing with new boots, new shin guards, all this, we have to beat Sundowns. Sometimes you beat them on the tunnel. Sometimes you beat them with the first minute of the game. Sometimes you can see, we're not so from that, and you beat them. Once you win your individual battles, then it's easy. Because of then you've got players that wants to prove, players that are doing overboard, and then you've got other players that are playing normally. Of course, you expect Kola Mlambo, if he starts, he will play normally, but we all know that Kola's not going to finish the game. He has never finished the game for Gallants this season. So because he hasn't played for such long. So you have players that are very good, but they won't finish the game because he doesn't finish the game. So the danger, all the important players for Gallants, they will never finish the game. So your concern should be then, what happens then on the bench? The players that are coming off the bench to come in. I was doing the game against Cape Town City. Within 80th, 90th minute, some of them were cramping. But because they're playing back to back, there was a little bit of short space between them to play. So you have to understand, okay, sharp. Cape Town City pushed them a little bit. I mean, the team that were playing against, they pushed them a little bit. But then you're like, okay, with Mamelodi Sundowns, if they have to play Mamelodi Sundowns, which they are playing Mamelodi Sundowns, then do they have the capabilities and the qualities to defend? They don't have, because it's a team that wants to start from the back. They don't have a goalkeeper that is comfortable on the feet. They don't have centre backs that are comfortable on the ball. So you're taking a risk. If they don't believe, they must go ask village. It happened. You don't have players that are so comfortable on the ball, but you still want to play from the back. So get on risky. So it's something that we need to allow them to start from the back to build, so that they can build confidence. But we know that within the qualities that they have, we'll be able to pounce from that and be able to. Maybe it might be an easy game for creative midfielders, because you don't have to create. You just steal the ball and be able to score.
Royal AM, Polokwane, they all fell into that trap. The press. Where you let them start, and the next thing you're on them, and we got goals from it. So it would be a very dangerous thing for them to do that.
Scalavala Chiefs.
Oh yes, le bona.
Yeah, but it's Marumo Gallants, guys,
Yeah.
please, you know. And they're going to play against the Mamelodi Sundowns
Yeah,
team that has got 6 goals in the last 2 games.
yeah.
And we are playing a team that played 8 games in this season, won 3, and 2 of those were in the cup.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Playing a cup game.
Yeah, I
more
know,
wins
but
in the
I'm just
cup.
saying the momentum that Sundowns has from that cup, the 4-0 win in FNB, and after that you want to go to Marumo Gallants and
And it's also going
have
to
a
be
different feel of what you need to do.
It's going to be very important because the final is also being
It's also
played
it's
in
the
the
same
Free
venue.
State.
Yeah.
Yeah, the final is coming, but Mamelodi Sundowns is coming now. Leave the final. I think we want we want too many things from these guys, but it's gonna be a. Let me not say a one-sided game, but Sundowns is gonna win this game comfortably. With the quality that it has shown in the last 2 games, I don't see them being deterred into thinking they're playing. Obviously, they're playing a team that is in the Premier League, and
Yeah.
And also,
it's-
Baute,
and there's
just also to echo what you say, immediately after the draw that happened, I could hear the players say, guys, you guys don't want us to go to the final.
Yeah,
Already you are in
Mentally.
an mentally advantageous position because also they came here, Mopitori.
Yeah.
They got a whipping. So that plays in the mind game. But it goes back to saying, cup games, they've got their own heartbeat.
Yeah.
So that's the unfortunate part because I remember like you go into them, you play them, you know that you're going to win. You have to win because of the quality that you have on the pitch. Then after you know that team is not going to win the trophy.
Yeah.
So you get mad at yourself for about
That's why I always say, Joe, I hate the upsets with
Oh,
all
yeah.
my heart.
Joe.
It sets a bad precedence. It just messes up the whole thing. I don't like upsets. In this game, Mamelodi Sundowns to the final.
Score?
More than 3. More than 3.
Confident, eh?
Lucas is coming.
Hey, Lucas is coming.
Yeah, no.
Peter is coming.
No, we need another
Iggy is
4-0.
coming.
Nah.
Yeah,
More
we
than
need,
3.
we need another
For me,
4-0.
more than 3. So that we settle this thing.
We need another
And I
4-0.
think as well it does a lot. We spoke about it previously that there's a level of fear and arrogance that must show up when people say we're playing Sundowns. In fact, you must see them when they're setting up when they start. They're in a block and they're here to play for, if it's a league game, they're here for a draw. And if they're lucky, they'll catch on the counter. But I think these big score lines then bring back the fear to say, okay, keep on.
That's why we need another 4. Because to be honest with you, we have players that don't have that arrogancy, the presence, but the score line will do the job for you. So you want to build with that.
That must be standard procedure. Every game must be standard procedure. And remember now, we're still waiting for Skupu Samukwena. We haven't seen it this season. We're waiting for him. We're still waiting for Mudiba as well to chip in with a few goals. We're waiting for a few players to chip in with a few goals. So this game, I'm telling you, my say something.
You what?
I know. I love Coach Dance, but it's just
It's unfortunate.
it's just a too big a breach and a too deep dam to swim out of. It's the quality that we've seen from this Sundowns team in the past 2 games. It's just a bit frightening. But like I said before, and I'm going to say it again, there were games in the beginning of the season, especially the ones that we lost, that we went into games thinking we're going to win.
Yeah.
I don't think they should repeat that, and it's something that Coach Mangoba, I'm sure, should have told the players that you still need to play the game.
Definitely.
You still need to be 100%.
You still need to show up and win it.
Yeah, regardless of the trip, regardless of where you play. You can't just turn up and turn it on when it's at the Calabash or at Loftus. But the character comes when you have to travel to these different places, Bloemfontein, Polokwane.
Yes.
That's where we see your character, and that's where we see the strength of this team. And
definitely. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Masandawana, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us your comments. We are Masandawana.
Abu Yellow.